This video will instruct you on how to mix a batch of clay from Studio Reclaim. When mixing clay in the studio, it is of utmost importance to wear proper safety attire. In our studio, we require a dust mask, apron, and closed-toed shoes. Additionally, make sure all hair and loose clothing is tied back. The first step in mixing any clay is turning on the ventilation system. Doing this ensures all dust that arises while mixing clay does not remain in the air, given it is hazardous to your lungs. The second step in the clay mixing process is sponging off excess water from the top of the reclaim bucket. To do this, simply take a designated yellow sponge, place sponge at the top of the gray bucket marked Studio Reclaim, and squeeze. This will draw water into the sponge, which can be squeezed out into the clay mixing room sink. Repeat this step until the reclaim bucket is void of any standing water. After all water is removed from the top of the bucket, the next step is to put reclaimed clay into the studio mixer. With the lid open, use hands to scoop 2/3 of the bucket into the mixer. At this time, it is important to feel the clay to make sure no needle tools, bisque shards, fingers, or toes are in the reclaimed clay. Do this by running the clay through your hands when dropping it into the mixer. You can now turn on the Bluebird. Let the reclaim mix for 5 minutes. To do this, close and latch the lid on the right side of the mixer. If not already plugged in, do so. The outlet is located to the right and back of the Bluebird. Then, with confidence, press the green button located to the left of the Bluebird. This will automatically mix the clay. Once the reclaim has mixed for 5 minutes, you can begin to add dry studio clay. To do this, turn off the mixer by pressing the red button to the left of the Bluebird. Lift the lid and assess the wetness of the clay. Then, to the right of the mixer, use a metal scoop to add 3 scoops of dry clay to the reclaim. When doing this, sieve the clay through your fingers, then close the lid and let the clay mix for 3 to 5 minutes. Repeat this process until you have used 1 to 1.5 bags of clay. Once all dry material is added, let clay mix for at least 15 minutes. While the clay is mixing, it is important to scrape the sides of the Bluebird. To do this, use a black scraper and scrape the clay stuck to the side of the Bluebird. Then place it on the blades. Scraping the clay will ensure even mixing of both wet and dry material. The final step is to bask in the glory of mixing a batch of Studio Reclaim. Open the Bluebird and feel the clay. As it ceases to stick to your fingers, rejoice in the glory of your clay.